Bonjour.
Hello, my name is Fanny. I'm a journalist, researcher in technology, and I have the honor here of having 4 speakers about cyber threat intelligence and artificial intelligence. For people who don't know it, of course, CTI, cyber threat intelligence, according to Thales, is the capability to understand, analyzing all the time the level of course, cyber threat. I'm not going to define artificial intelligence because we already hear a lot about this. I'm going to introduce the speakers. You have here Mr. Ivan Fiakovsky, who is a researcher in cyber threat in InfoLab. Then you have Dr. Mark Van Statonen. I'm sorry for my pronunciation, says the speaker. He's the founder of cyber strategies. Then Nicola, who is senior customer manager in Filigrane, and then Mr. Alexander Carapérales, who is the manager of detection services and for answering cyber attacks in Sofrasteria. I'm going to start already with the first question about just the malevolent cyber attacks. For you, do you think that artificial intelligence is this useful? So maybe you can start. What's the use of artificial intelligence to fight against cyber threat intelligence?
I'd like to do this in English because we have an English speaker with us. I hope it's okay for everyone in the room. Otherwise, I will switch back to French. I think it's a good question because when we started out thinking about AI and cybersecurity as subjects, really there was a lot of focus from the media, I think, on the offensive applications of artificial intelligence. We were talking about malware authors using AI or ChatGPT in order to help write malware better. We're talking about phishing emails that would be able to be generated much more efficiently and so on. And my opinion about this, it might be a little controversial, but I've always thought that AI was kind of solving issues that attackers didn't really have in the past. Like when it comes to writing emails, sure, they're going to be able to write them a bit quicker, but if the main issue was being able to write an email with correct syntax, then we already had a good technology to do this, what's called Microsoft Word, with this red line underneath every misspelled word. So in that regard, that issue was kind of solved already. And when it comes to writing malware, well, you already had a lot of malware available on GitHub or on open source repositories and whatnot. So in that regard, I think that AI obviously is going to provide a number of, I would call them increases in productivity for attackers. But in my opinion, it really brings a lot more to the table when it comes to defense. So one of the first examples that come to mind would be the fact that AI is, at the moment, I think, inserted in virtually every other product in the cybersecurity field. Like if you walk around the FIC at the moment, then you will see that every company is doing AI at the moment. So I mean, I don't know how much AI they really do, but it feels like actually the AI kind of helps defenders to some extent. And I will say this, like in most companies I've worked for, like even before AI was cool, there was already some models that were inserted in the products in order to do better detection. Currently at Halfwing Lab, when I work, that we do have models that help us detect malicious PowerShell scripts, help to classify malware, and so on. And I dare say they work pretty well. But even beyond this, as a reverse engineer, I developed a plugin for one of my tools, one of the tools I use in the field early in 2023 or end of 2022, where I just offload a lot of my work to ChatGPT. So basically what I do is I reverse engineer viruses. I get virus programs from my coworkers, and they ask me, what does this virus do? And from there, then I just open the assembly code, I look at the insides of the program with the dissection tools that are available to me, and I noticed early on that if you just send the output of those tools to ChatGPT and just ask, okay, what does this thing do? It does a pretty good job of figuring out what it actually does. So I use this on a daily basis, and I think that it really helps when it comes to being able to reverse engineer your program faster And when it comes to analyzing troves of documents, for instance, there was this leak not a long time ago from a Chinese company called iSoon. A lot of people were looking at the contents of what the internal documents of those companies that leaked were. And it turned out that through the help of those AI tools, we were able to quickly translate those documents, sum them up, and be able to extract the relevant information pretty quickly. One of the key takeaways from that leak, by the way, was that attackers were also using AI for this exact purpose, in the sense that when you look at the documents from this leak, it turns out that the attackers have no problem breaching their victim. They do not use AI at all when it comes to trying to penetrate their targets. But what they do is they end up with quantities of documents that they cannot handle manually. Like they have gigabytes and gigabytes of PDFs and I don't know, Excel spreadsheets or cold data records that they cannot process, and they just put everything into platforms with deep learning. And nowadays, I guess they would be using LLMs, and they use those technologies to be able to read through those documents and be able to extract the intelligence themselves. So, on the technical level, I would say that AI is mostly helping the defenders, and when it comes to CTI. When it comes to analyzing documents and producing intelligence, then probably AI is going to be helping everyone.
Well, maybe quick response and partially echoing. I also very much agree from the attacker's perspective. It's more an opportunity. Indeed, their lives can be easier. From the defense end, I think it's quite straightforward. There is no alternative. The amounts of data that you have to process, the services that you have to monitor, this is getting so immense. There is no alternative than having AI in your setup to be able to monitor what's going on. How to exactly do it? Do it reliable, do it trustworthy, do it responsible. That's another debate, and probably we'll get to that topic a bit later in the discussion. But from my perspective, there is no alternative given the amounts of data for the defenders to process.
Yes, this question of is it more useful for attackers or cyber defense actors is very related to the need, the final need that we see into AI. And I agree that especially for cyber attackers, AI, Gen AI, so generative AI, is mostly useful for initial access, so creating decoys, creating lures to trick the cyber defense actors. And so this is, yes, it's useful, as you said, but it's maybe not a real game changer for them. But from the cyber defense perspective, the main issue we have in cyber threat intelligence is to, at the beginning, to qualify the need, what we need to detect, to understand cyber threat. And AI, in this perspective, can be really useful for technical cyber threat intelligence, for instance, with the indicators to process a large amount of data, as you said, but also, also for tactical cyber threat intelligence, when we talk about attack patterns, to understand modus operandi, to understand how the attackers are acting, and to make the intelligence operational. This is the main issue we have in cyber threat intelligence, doing something useful that we can, leverage for actions in cyber defense. So, for instance, AI in cyber threat intelligence can be very effective when we try, for instance, to use breach and attack simulation by reproducing modus operandis to better understand how the attackers are trying to breach our companies, and also in detection perspectives to enhance, the security operations center's workflows.
So from my point of view, there is, first we have to talk about attackers, as you did before. And what we saw is, as usual, the attackers always are the first to use next technologies, and so AI. We had the first information about that was from research labs and university that showed that we can generate some malwares directly from AI. We had a big period about ransomware, with a lot of ransomware generated. I don't know if they use AI at this moment, but there were a lot of generation of ransomware. We passed through all the detection because the fact they were generated just a few minutes before being sent to everyone. So that was the first step. Then OpenAI and others actors claimed that there is exploitation of their services by the attackers. We had also a lot of examples about malicious prompt logical injection to extract, leak the data, for example. So all this activity leads to today, we talk about Dark Gemini, which is a service like ChatGPT or Gemini for around $45 by month to generate exploits, to generate malware, and all this stuff. This is the current next trend. And so it means that, I guess, for the attackers right now, they use those tools already to attack. And I think it's not exactly the beginning, but they are quite fast on that. The problem is to defend, we need time. And this is always the problem. We need time, and because I cannot ask to machine learning system, because I prefer to use the word machine learning, because it's not really intelligence. For example, we start to use for detection, to detect malicious domain, deep learning, as we were discussing before. And the prototype was very efficient. And when we start to use in production, we had 99% of false positive. Because, for example, the German domain name were very close to what we call domain generation algorithm results. And so it doesn't work in the real life. So the problem, and this is something we discussed already, we need data. You can take all the best algorithm of machine learning to have a good model. You need efficient data and a lot of efficient data. But in cybersecurity, for the defense, we have a problem that attackers doesn't have. The data are confidential. It means we don't share it on internet with everyone. But for the attackers, they don't have this problem. They leak the data, they use the leaks, they share on GitHub, and they can use it everywhere. So there is an unbalanced, I would say, an unbalanced situation, which is usual between attacker and defender. It's not new. But it's at scale with the new machine learning technologies. It's the fact that we have to share the data to be able to do model, cybersecurity model with LLM or other machine learning or deep learning system at scale to be able to defend properly. I don't know what you think about that.
So I do agree in the asymmetry of data that we have between attackers and defenders. The thing is, I believe that all the data that the attackers have, we have them as well. Like when you talk about leaks, we can get those leaks, and we can process them as well. Like as long as we don't use them for anything illegal, I'm pretty sure that we can process them.
We have a legal issue. So I cannot use the leaks in my company. We have quite trouble with that.
Yeah, take care with your lawyers then.
AI can have trouble too.
Okay, well, I'm pretty sure that it's probably fine. Legally speaking, like probably I would need to talk to a lawyer, but I don't think that you would get any, like you probably have GDPR issues that are bigger than just processing leaks that you found on the internet. So I would argue, like in my opinion, that all the data that the attackers have, then we probably have them as well. And if we decide to use them, then we could. The question might be, is this data that they are using for their own purposes, is this useful to us? and I'm unsure about this, but when it comes to data available to defenders, it doesn't have to be GDPR-protected personal information. For instance, if you talk about malware samples and doing training on detection, well, defenders will have, I think, much more difficulty buying a VirusTotal account that they would need to be able to get a lot of samples. For instance, they are never going to be able to have telemetry that would allow them to correlate attacks or to look at like troves of network data flows and that kind of thing to be able to correlate information. Like, they wouldn't use this information, I guess, or maybe to try out evasion techniques. But this data that we need, I think most companies are going to have a part of it as well, or can purchase it if they need to. So in that regard, I think this asymmetry might be kind of problematic on paper, but we can overcome it.
Well, maybe to add, but I think in the space of the attackers, they are not having long procurement cycles, purchase orders to wait for, and
legal team.
I really would like to overcome this asymmetric problem, but I don't see that to be solved. But it really emphasizes how important it is to be prepared and not start acting after an attack. But you should have your threat intel platforms in place already for a few years. And if you're still thinking about it, you're by far behind the cycle.
I think I agree with your analysis. We are on the same level regarding Gen and I. I think the question is, what kind of future AI will we have? Maybe it will change this kind of asymmetry, because attackers will no longer have access to the same set of data. I mean, new set of data, because the internet is already available. So the question is maybe much more for us, I mean, on the cyber defender side, on what kind of data set can we use and reach for the future application of AI to change this asymmetry, to be to be prepared, in fact.
Yeah, I think that's the key topic. This discussion is not really about AI, but maybe at the end a little bit. It's about the data, and I think threat intelligence is a game changer. And we can do things, because right now we have open standards that are public, and we can share, I would say, standard data, like MITRE ATT&CK, for example, MITRE DEFEND, CWE, CVE, and so on. We can share it without the confidential things. And we can share it at scale without any problem. And it's a plus, first, but there's other things. We have to mix AI services. For example, I think for the confidential things, we need to have Gen AI or other kind of AI in on-premise or in restricted system, and those AI have to be able to use retrievers to request other AI that are public, to be able to combine what you said, the public data attacker use, we have to, with the legal limit, but we have to. And we have to use it, but it's not enough. We have to specialize the models for the confidential data we have to be able to balance the defense properly. So we need to have AI dedicated to the confidential part, which is able to collaborate with AI that are public. That's the first point. And the second point is the fact that there is something that is incoming, but I don't know when, what we call the small learning. And the small learning is a game changer in this unbalanced data situation. The big learning is what we are doing right now. We use terabytes of data to learn something, which is very very expensive, require a lot of data, but that's not the case for all machine learning models or algorithms. There is a part which is called small learning, how to learn an accuracy or logical way with few data. And this one, with really confidential data, really structured data, and data of quality, the small learning can change the situation.
Maybe I can add on that also from our point of view. Whether you use the big learning or the small learning, and one thing that we, with my company and the colleagues also in the European projects where we work together, start to focus on more and more is we know AI is also not perfect. So, for example, you're very happy if you've trained your AI and you have an F1 score of 0.95. And you would say, this is almost perfect. So, deploy. But the AI is still making mistakes. And just like experts, because also the expert will miss an item. And so the way we start to look more and more to the AI development is that we train AI, that we have to treat it like just another expert. And with some other skills, like one skill is that it can process way more data, way quicker. But both experts and AI make mistakes. And they should strengthen each other. And this is what we call collaborative AI, where they really work together in getting to the best insight. Because both have different skills, different competences. And this is where we are developing a collaborative AI framework where we really try to get best of both worlds. And I think that is, if also talking about innovation in AI, this is something quite new. And we are applying this also to CTI approach.
I think what you'd say is just very important. Machine learning has logical black hole. And logical black hole is even the human bias or logical bias, that's the same way, but at scale. And we have to talk about AI or machine learning prompt exposure, because attackers are able to perform logical bias injection to impact the decision of AI and probably the system that use this AI, and be able to embed in the logical system or the model of the AI, for example, malware, payloads, that will impact other users, or leak data, or we already talked about this. So machine learning exposure, or at least exposure, you cannot put prompts everywhere on the internet or open it to everyone if it's connected to your systems. You can have major impact at scale.
Well, to add on your point, is we do see this transition where in the past you trained your AI, everybody happy, 0.95 F1 score, fire and forget. But what are the attackers doing? They are adapting, they are learning, they are improving. So what do you think? Your AI is outdated after a month. So you should keep monitoring and keep retraining and updating. There is no alternative. So the old thinking of we have the AI trained and now we are good for a long period, that's really old thinking. I will almost claim this is 90s thinking. We need to have the AI in place, but it should be adaptive. Because the attackers change their patterns, or they are aware how we detect stuff and circumvent. So adaptivity to the modus operandi that are changing, that's key of the infrastructure that we need.
Merci beaucoup pour vos...
Thank you very much for your answers. Now my second question, so that we can have a discussion. I would like to know what are the most significant contributions of IA in cyber threat intelligence, of artificial intelligence in cyber threat intelligence?
Let's reply by attacking the question slightly. in the sense that we've been talking about game changers and AI revolution and so on, and it is my personal belief, and I know some people may disagree about this. I do not think that when it comes to AI and cybersecurity, I really don't think that AI is that much of a revolution. I do think it brings a lot to the table. I do think that it's going to change things slightly. It does help me do my job quicker on a daily basis, but is it offering me new capabilities that I did not have in the past? I'm not so sure about this. Sure, the models are going to get better in the future. I think we are also headed to a future where we don't have general purpose models anymore, but we're going to have specialized models that are going to be not medium/good at all tasks, but that are going to be quite good at single tasks. And those may change things in the future, but we are not there yet. So when the question is, how is AI going to, what is the domain that it has changed the most when it comes to cybersecurity, I would say that I wouldn't be able to point one specifically because I don't think it changed that much in the first place. It did help when it comes to detection. It did help when it comes to reverse engineering to some extent. And it also helps when it comes to being able to process large quantities of data. I think maybe this is going to be like my let's say, lukewarm answer. It helps us when we have to process huge quantities of information because one of the core issues that we have in the field of threat intelligence is we have hundreds of companies out there who are all producing threat intelligence. They are publishing this information through a variety of means. Some of them are using programs that do automatic intelligence sharing. Other companies are writing blog posts where they publish IOCs and everything. And it turns out that if you try to capitalize on all this knowledge that is being put out there, it's very difficult to automatically process information coming from all those different sources. And this is where, personally, I've been using AI as a sort of communication layer between all those information sources, where when in the past I would have had to write scripts that would parse the information, extract it, and maybe put it in my systems, I'm now able to use AI to browse pages, go on blog posts and read them, and extract information automatically without me having to write a specific parser to extract information from a specific page that would not be portable for other sources of information. And again, when it comes to processing vast quantity of documents that might have leaked or that we could have obtained, or if you have an intelligent provider that provides you with reports in PDF format, being able to extract and query this data set is very likely going to be useful and only possible through AI. So I think for me, as in my daily job as an analyst, this is going to be like the most useful thing that AI has done for me.
Yes, in fact, I think AI is a kind of, I would say, game changer, but not the game changer we thought it would be. It's not something that will enhance, strongly the technical quality of analysis, because the analysts are already able to do that. The game changer is the time that is now free for pure analysis. AI, in fact, AI brings speed. We can collect data, relevant data more quickly. We can treat data more quickly. And we can also, if I take the intelligence cycle, it can also help to automate the dissemination within the various products we use for threat hunting, for incident response, for detection. So the game changer is the time that is now free for the analysts to do analysis. And this is one of the, I would say, huge problem in cyber threat intelligence. Most of the time, analysts are losing time to collect, to enrich, and this is time they cannot use for analysis and pure intelligence. And maybe AI is a game changer in that aspect. It's, yes, giving time for human analysis. And this is why it's what we call a tool, because it helps analysts, it helps humans, and it will not replace them in the daily work in terms of cyber threat intelligence.
Fully agree. couple of years ago, we thought that AI will really improve the detection. And right now, today, you can go in the forum and ask to the leaders of AI. It doesn't help. This is the worst solution for the direct detection, to find a cyber attack. Even big leaders in AI you have in the forum, when you ask to them, do you use detection, do you use AI to do detection? They told you, no, not at the first level. But afterward, yeah, it helped for the analysis, of course, and also the AI can help to do tasks that will take time and are not smart. And that's why I don't like to use AI, even if I do this right now. I talk about machine learning, and it's a key point. It's an illusion we practice all by using AI words. There's no intelligence in AI. It's machine learning that repeats at scale something that we are able to do. Of course, at scale, it's amazing because we terabytes of Word documents or any books, it's very difficult for us. But the AI can sum up it for us. And this is where it can help. About really simple rules or simple problems, they can fix it at scale. But AI already is already a game changer, and it's already done. It's done in your mailbox right now. If we talk about spam, right now, most of the spam is generated by AI from the attackers, and most of the spam is filtered by AI in your mailbox. And it's solved. At 99%, it's solved. So it's already a case that changed the situation. There is other example out of cybersecurity, the high-frequency trading. The high-frequency trading is half of the trading, world trading, financial trading. And it's only AI and automation. So I think that right now on internet traffic, there is part about, for example, spam, which is machine learning war between attackers and defender that you don't even care about because it works, that's all. And this is where you have a major problem solved in machine learning. This is where it goes. But all the problems cannot be solved like this. If you don't know how to solve a problem, like, for example, finding a cyber attack I don't know, the machine learning cannot solve it for you. So I think it's very important to point this.
Yeah, sorry. Actually, at Harfang Lab, we do use AI for detection. And so when you say it doesn't work, I get what you are coming from, but I would like to contextualize this a little bit. So if you use pure AI models to categorize programs or network traffic and that kind of things, I do agree that you're going to have too many false positives and false negatives that it's not going to work or to be usable in production. But obviously, in the various tools that use AI for the purposes of detection, then AI is just another source of information. You have, I don't know, you have signatures, you have heuristic behaviors, you have behavioral models, you have detection models, and all of them used in conjunction are going to help you to pass a verdict on an, I don't know, on a sample or an incident or something.
As said Mark, it's another source, another expert, but it's not the solution to the problem.
I do agree. AI does not solve cybersecurity. I think this should be said plainly. But just wanted to, when you said that AI doesn't work for detection, I just wanted to say if you use it correctly and if you're not really stupid about it by just putting a model and letting it run unsupervised, then it does provide some help to some extent at least.
It's like an antivirus is not the solution to stop cyber attacks. That's the same point.
Yes, in fact, just to keep going on that topic, and it's a bit like what we said before, the main risk for cyber defense using AI is to think it will solve every complex problem. Maybe it will come one day, but for now we need analysts. We are much more with the machine learning, as you said, than AI. And so the risk is to be poisoned in our daily process, in our data, by a tool that we're not able to manage. So I think, as you said, it's for now it's a new kind of source, but it's just a new kind of source for now, and it must help analysts, it must help detection, but we are not at the stage where AI will support the entire cybersecurity processes and cyber defense processes.
What I would like to add to the discussion is, I think we're kind of thinking in an architectural picture where we have analysts and on the other hand some AI. If I look to the situation in the Netherlands, we have quite an issue with having more analysts. And I'm not sure in France it's the same, but if you would like to have another guy with kind of your expertise, it's going to be really hard. So also to break through this, let's say, human capital challenge, having AI that takes over, let's say, the boring part of your job, and you really can focus on the core of your job, I think that is where there is also an opportunity. We are by far not there, but it's also in the thinking how we want to move on with technologies as AI. I consider it also part of the solution to the human capital problem that we have in this space.
Yeah, I think also for low-level knowledge, it's also useful. So and to fix some element you can miss because you're working right now, but you don't think about recurring task or check to do, it can help also.
Est-ce qu'on a d'autres commentaires? Est-ce qu'on passe?
Other comments or last question? Okay, we still have 25 minutes. Well, jumping in the future, do you think our AI will change cyber security in the future? And from cyber attackers' point of view, will it change malwares in the future, or are these projections exaggerated? I'd like to have your point of view on this.
So when it comes to whether AI is going to be a revolution, I think I made my thinking pretty clear on that aspect. I don't think this will be the case. I do think that AI is going to spread more in the field. I think that we're going to have products that incorporate AI in better and better ways. And to some extent, I also think that it is going to help solve this recruitment issue that we have. Like, it's not going to be to help people. Well, thanks to AI, I think that we will be able to recruit people that have a lower skill level and still have them be able, at least a little bit, to perform the job as if like they were like more skilled, had more experience. So it's going to help people become more efficient at their job, and if only in that aspect, I think it's a good thing. What I'm slightly worried about when it comes to the future is we're going to have those technologies that are going to get cheaper. And I'm getting worried that there's going to be an incentive for decision makers to replace humans because humans are difficult, first to manage, second to recruit. And if you can offload all this work to an AI, then I think they're going to be very happy about it. And I think also it's probably going to be a mistake because, like, I think it's been made obvious by this discussion. I think unsupervised AI is not going to cut it ever, or at least in the near future. So I fear that we are going to go through a phase that is going to get worse before it gets better, because we're going to become overconfident with AI and cybersecurity in the coming years before we realize it's actually not working as much as we expected, and then we will have to go back to putting humans in the system to supervise and make sure that everything is running as it is expected. Beyond this, I mentioned in the future, I think we're going to be getting better models. I think we're going to get agents that are able to do penetration testing automatically, at least to some extent. I don't think vulnerability research will be revolutionized by AI either, but when it comes to penetration testing, there are a lot of repeatable procedures which I think are going to be pretty well covered by AI tools in the future. I do think, paradoxically maybe, it's also going to help defenders more, because I suspect those tools are going to be very, very noisy, and that they're going to generate a lot of traffic and a lot of recognizable patterns, and that they are going to be mostly useful in the context of legitimate penetration testings. And when it's going to be used in the case of, I don't know, net attacks or illegitimate penetrations, I think defenders, if they are looking, of course, are going to be able to see those traces very quickly. And so I think these penetration testing models coming probably in the future are going to help defenders more. I think that's it for my predictions. You have more?
Yeah, well, at least an addition on like the point that you made. How can we, with all these new technologies coming into our society, how can we rely on it, and how can we feel comfortable that it indeed does what it should do or what it's expected to do? And one of the developments that we are working on a lot to get more traction is thinking from the perspective of digital trust. Because in the end, and I think the World Economic Forum has done a great job there, we all know 100% security doesn't exist. Your AI will make mistakes. The experts will make mistakes. But as long as we have done our best to get the outcomes that we expect, and if things go wrong, you have possibilities to correct. And then we are going to build trust also in our digital ecosystem. And at this point in time, we still see many, many expert systems that if the system says no, it is a no, and there's no explainability, there is no opportunity to turn back the outcome in a way. And we believe that digital trust as an ambition, and an ambition expectation from society, from customers, from in business-to-business deals, is really an important ambition to go after. At the same time, how to do this and what kind of technologies. AI will play there a key role. Cybersecurity will play there a key role. Data sharing, I think, topic also extremely important in the CTI space, but how to share in a trustworthy way data with, maybe partially with competitors. It's an enormous development of technologies that can help supporting digital trust. This is what we call our Trust Tech roadmap, where at least we believe that that is going to be a game changer in security, privacy, the whole digital transformation, how to do this in a reliable way. And in the core of this whole digital transformation, cybersecurity technology, CTI, AI, it all plays really an important role. But we really have to rethink, it's not just a technical solution, it's a solution for people, that we need to trust. And we need to have trust metrics and trust safeguards to deal in this society.
Yes, I think I'm going to be very quick on I would say the future of AI within CTI. In fact, as you said, it will be it can be a revolution if it helps human to be better analysts, to be to have time for analysis and for this process. This is, I think, the only angle for qualifying this as a revolution. I mean, to truly help under human perspective. And as you said about digital trust, one of the, because it was the other part of the question on the future threats, what we see at Filigrane working with various customers is also the problem of foreign information manipulation and interference. There is a debate about, is it a cyber threat? But if we think about, for instance, phishing is a kind of information manipulation. But here it's massively developed with, we talk about cyber criminals, maybe here by state-sponsored groups. I think Gen AI is already totally changing the way to manipulate information. And this is maybe the first revolution in terms of threats that we will see in the future and that we already see right now. So this is one of my prediction.
Okay. If we look at the future, I think we cannot, and no one knows what will happen. So that's the beginning, but let's play, okay? For the short term, I think everyone wants to use AI right now. It's fun. Even if it's useless, they want it everywhere. In your mobile, in your car, in your home, in manufacturing, everywhere. So the first problem we will face right now is AI everywhere, and not only AI everywhere, AI connected with all other things. We want to have plugins to connect ChatGPT with your house, with your mobile, with your bank account. I don't even know how far this crazy moment, but is usual human being. So it means that if you look at it, the first problem and the opportunity for the attackers is very easy. It's a systemic problem. So I will exploit a logical issue on an AI that is publical, and I can rebound on specific data internally somewhere, or trigger an action and do something on your car or whatever. This is what we're going to face right now because everyone wants AI everywhere. There is another problem that we will face is to make that kind of big learning AI, we need a lot of data and a lot of hardware. And it's very consuming, very expensive. So probably this part of AI will go to the leaders, and they will trust the system mostly. So it means for the attackers, they just have to focus on few targets. And of course, those targets have to defend, but there's a lot of attackers, and it could be very difficult. So they will probably go to what we call a shared responsibility model, which means on the lower part, they take care of the basement of the system, and on the upper part, this is your problem. It means that you have to take care about the security of it, and they will do nothing for you. So this is the short term, I guess. For the midterm, there is a topic about attack and defense, and also situational evaluation or support of the expert, analyst, what you want, to make decision and manage the action. Because now we are just talking about support to make decision, but there is the next step. When you have to defend, you need to perform action. It could be very difficult to know what kind of action and what is the good sequence to do it. And so I think at midterm, if we are enough confident in AI, like for example, if you look half autonomous car, you will half give the action management to the machine learning system. And so it raises new problems, like an attacker which take a logical hole in AI system, or human bias. So may in the prompt, send a logical issue through the data, through the activities. For example, I don't know, I'm going to exploit 3 laptops in the company, and I will put specific actions that generate data, which make a wrong summary in the AI, and the analyst take the wrong decision. And this will impact. And this is on the analysis part, but it's incoming, I guess, in the midterm. And if we take it at the long term, there is a topic about autonomous warfare, cyber warfare. So fully automated AI on attacker side, on defender side, and the problem of data can be solved. We talk about small learning, but there is also adversarial. We didn't talk about adversarial, which is put two AI as pairing on a topic with rules and let them fight to win the score. And so you build up an offensive AI and at the same time a defensive AI. And this is a topic where data is not the problem. The problem is the rules and what is the benefits for each AI to make progression. So if we talk about adversarial, there is a topic because to build a different AI, we will always build an offensive AI. And so it's possible that those algorithms leads to always the same logical approach for defense and attack on a specific game, let's say, environment, which help the attackers to discover the defense system without having data about it. So I guess there is all those topics that we can discuss about.
Yeah, sure. I think Nicolas made an excellent point, and I do want to double down on it. I would like to say a few words about the topics that AI is actually going to revolutionize. And I think the first one is going to be disinformation. So you talked about information manipulation, it's the same. I think there's the saying at the moment that 80% of the internet traffic is generated by bots or something. I believe that in 10 years, or maybe even quicker, more than half of the content we read online is going to be generated by AIs. And at the moment, I think it's fair to say that we are already pretty bad at handling misinformation coming from human sources. Now that this process is fully automatable, then I think we're in trouble. And we need to collectively be thinking about that and how to handle it and how to be able to process all this information that is going to be spread for nefarious purposes online. Another aspect I think is super critical is going to be the military applications of AI. I think at the moment we are very close to having AI-powered drones. I think we need to talk about this, and nobody's talking about the subject at the moment, as far as I know. So really, I think there's a Department of Defense stand here on FIC, and we need to go and ask them what they think about that, because it's kind of giving me nightmares. Yeah, and there was a final thing that I skipped my mind, so I'll leave it to others.
Yes, in fact, I just wanted to explain what I said before about information manipulation. I think it's a key point, not only in terms of, I would say, disinformation under, for instance, a disarm framework that we see like MetraTac. The huge problem, as you said, is data poisoning. If in the future AI allow attackers to poison all the data or a large amount of data that we could and used to use in our cyber defense process, they will win a lot of battles. Because if you corrupt the data, we are not able to analyze, we are not able to detect properly, we are not able to respond properly. So I think when I talk about information manipulation, it's not only deep fakes, it's a larger phenomenon that we're already seeing besides, for instance, the conflict in Ukraine, but it gives ideas to some attacker groups. We already see this, in fact, at Filigrane, and this is why I wanted to talk about that. This is not, maybe I was a bit wrong in my way to say it. It's not a future that is about to come. It's already here. The problem is the size it will take in the future.
Yeah, fully agree. And when it comes to talking about futures that are already here, like this very morning, there was an article in Le Monde explaining that in Russia, they had been using AI-powered surveillance, facial recognition, in order to identify people who attended the funeral of Alexei Navalny and then obviously arrest them. So there's another revolution for you. It's just, I guess, not the one we were hoping for.
Sur cette fin très joyeuse, je me demande, est-ce
Very funny ending. Are there questions in the room? Sorry. Go on, please. Without a mic, the interpreters cannot translate the question.
It's a good point. I think here you have a problem. Snake biting its own tail, because in order to generate synthetic data, you need to create a model that generates the data, and to create that model, you will need data in the first place. So this is the issue they have, in my opinion.
And maybe practical addition, one of the problems we try to solve with synthetic data was not the fact to create data, but to get over the imbalance problem. For some cases, you have thousands of examples, for the other, just a few hundred. To get equal numbers of examples, we use Gen AI to create synthetic examples. And this is done with TNO, with the Dutch Research Institute. And it really showed good performance, better than without having the imbalance. But it's kind of an in-between solution. It's not fully synthetic data and fully or fully real data, but it was a bit of a mixture. But it worked quite well.
Yeah, I think the topic is overfitting. The problem, we work a lot about balancing the data. For example, you want to detect cyber attacks. That's very cool. So you generate cyber attacks on the system, you get the data, and you learn it. But if you do only things, the model will overfit. And so when you put it on production data with normal activity, the model would just find cyber attacks everywhere. And that's the problem of synthetic data. So when we worked, we had a project that is on GitHub about public information, scrapping and modeling through machine learning, not with LLM and so on, but before. And what the tool made is just balance the data, because on a topic you have, for example, 1,000 articles, and on another topic you have 3 articles. And so what happens when you train with this unbalanced data? You will get a model that will flag the same topic everywhere. So the problem with synthetic data is, and this is the problem to find cyber attacks with machine learning, is the fact that you need to have the same amount of normal activities and the same amount of abnormal activities, or malicious activities, because abnormal is unsupervised, and so it means you have to find yourself.
Yes, maybe it's interesting to see it under the perspective from the topic of this round table, what AI will bring to CTI, what CTI will bring to AI. CTI can be really useful by analyzing real modus operandi, real malwares with hashes, etc., to train AI model. So I think we can think right now about how can we use our CTI not only for actual protection, but for our future protection by training AI model, by reproducing in breach and attack simulation systems those modus operandi to defend against them in a virtual space, and then to enhance our cyber threat intelligence and cyber defense at whole.
Thank you. Do you see possibilities? Do you see what would be the obstacles of integrating different knowledge bases than purely technical things? Like geopoliticals now, but other things maybe. Thank you.
I can start. Please help me. Okay. There is a problem in that. I don't use AI words, as I said, even if I said AI 10 times today. But it's machine learning. And machine learning is just repeating something that you bring the data for. So generative AI can combine things already existing and make it the trick to a magic stuff which you think it's new, but it's not new. It's just a combination of something already learned, something already existing. Like, I can take an example. It's about cybersecurity, but it's a bit strange. In a non-profit association, I'm developing trainings based on martial art courses to train cybersecurity for everyone. It's a bit out of the... And I asked to ChatGPT, for example, this is a course of cybersecurity. This is a course on martial art. Can you combine them? It was just a nightmare. It was full of nonsense, like, for example, UK is punching the computer. No, that's not the point. I guess the answer is no. AI can generate a lot of data which are quite similar to what you have, and so knowledge is even on top of data. It's a concept. And right now, I don't think that AI can improve knowledge. But there is something that pops there with the adversarial. We can discover by just putting AI together, fighting during a lot of cycles, they can discover something that us humans, we cannot do. But I'm not sure.
Maybe a little bit of a different viewpoint, but I think that was shared also here in the panel a few times. What I always like with these new technologies that everybody starts to think like, this is the solution to everything. Mm-hmm. So that was a bit of the trend of last year, that Gen AI is the solution to every problem. Also sustainability development goals could be achieved with Gen AI. Well, let's be honest, that's not the case, and it's never going to happen like that. But I think we are in the middle of the discovery where it really helps, where it can make things efficient, can change stuff, and in a few years we'll see the outcomes. But I have seen these trends with blockchain, with new encryption technologies. It's seen as the solution to everything, and at some point we realize, this is the real solution, or this is where it's really helpful. And Gen AI will definitely have a place, but at least I can't answer where.
Je vais vous arrêter ici tout de suite. On a déjà dépassé.
Sorry, we have to stop now. It was really a pleasure for me to take care of this panel. Thank you to all the speakers. Thank you so much. So we are going to meet later during the